Good evening, and welcome to The Watchman with Three Angels Messages. Welcome back, brethren, and we want to continue on studying the ladder of salvation. And so let us turn into the book of 2 Peter chapter 1. And we are still on verse number 5, where it reads, "And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue." And so, brethren, we are going to study virtue today. Virtue is connected to, when you look at the Hebrew meaning, is connected to converting power, righteousness, and modesty. And brethren, though we may not look upon each and every point upon these meanings, we are going to study deeply, and we are going to look upon what the Bible tells us, why we need this virtue. Let us turn into the book of Luke. The book of Luke, and we are going to see how the Bible is indeed inspired, as written in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16, where it says, "All scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, and for reproof, and for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works." So the scripture gives us meaning and gives us reproofs and is able to give us doctrine that we may become righteous, that we may become perfect. And so, brethren, in the book of Luke chapter 8 and verse number 44, or let us start from verse number 43. "And a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which has spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched. And Jesus said, Who touched me? When all denied Peter, and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude thronged thee and pressed thee, and sayest thou, Who touched me? And Jesus says, Somebody has touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling and falling before him. She declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately." Brethren, let us stop there for a minute. And so, brethren, we see that virtue is power, the power of Jesus Christ, converting power into a person's life. And so, brethren, we are able to see that when we come to Jesus, when we touch the border of his garment by faith, and so as it is written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 4 and verse 16, "Come boldly before the throne of grace, that you may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need." Brethren, when we come before God, when we come to Christ, we are able to receive this converting power. No matter our sicknesses, no matter what we are struggling with, God is not too small that he may not save you. He is merciful, kind, and gracious, and he is willing to give you this virtue if only you will come by faith. You cannot skip any steps. I want you to realize you can't skip the steps in the ladder of salvation. Look at verse number 48. "And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace." And so this woman, we are able to see, before she received the virtue, she first came in faith. And so, brethren, turn to the book of James. The book of James chapter 1. Book of James chapter 1 and verse number, let us look at verse number 6. "But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not the man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord." And verse number 8, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." And so, brethren, we are able to see the different foundation right here. If you come without faith, you are the man who built upon the sand, and you are as a wind tossed in the waves. And so, brethren, great is your fall when troubles and persecution come. But yet when you come by faith to Jesus Christ, hoping and believing that you are able to be healed, touch but the border of his garment, O brethren, and receive virtue, converting power, the righteousness of Christ in you. Turn into the book of Colossians chapter 1 and verse 27, where it says, to whom God will make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Brethren, when Christ is in us, when we come to Jesus, when we but touch his garment by faith, we receive a conversion. And so, brethren, turn also into the book of Revelation. In the book of Revelation chapter 19, we want to see this virtue. Virtue is connected to righteousness, converting power, and modesty. Look in the book of Revelation chapter 19 and verse 8. It says, and to her was granted that she would be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. And so, brethren, we are able to see that the church, the woman, was given to be arrayed in fine linen. And this fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. And so, brethren, this virtue, this righteousness is not obtained by birth, but rather is given unto you from Christ. And so we must come to Christ to receive this virtue. Do you understand your need though? Because this woman, it says in the book of Luke chapter 8 and verse number 43, it says she spent all her living upon physicians and they could neither heal her. Brethren, we spend so much time in the world, spending so much things and our time in things that are not able to save us spiritually nor physically, may I add. But when we come to Christ by faith, the only person that is able to give us virtue, that is why it says, come unto me, O ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Brethren, virtue is connected to righteousness, converting power, and modesty. Christ is the only person that is able to give us this virtue. And may I add, even to the women, those who call themselves Christians, we need to be careful in the way we dress. Because in the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, we are able to see depicted a virtuous woman. And when we study deeply, we are not going to go through that today. But yet when we study deeply, we are able to see that this woman was dressed reformed. But yet when we look at another woman in the book of Proverbs chapter 7 and verse number 10, it says, and he met him and woman with the attire of an harlot, with a subtle heart. And brethren, we are able to see that this woman, though not a harlot, she dressed and looked like a harlot. And many times, also often, our young women who profess the name of Christ look more like harlots than Jesus Christ. And so, brethren, we need to pray even for the young men in which are wearing things that they should not be wearing. They are looking upon the dress code of Kanye West, the dress code of Jay-Z, the dress code of all these celebrities, rather than looking upon the modest dress code of Jesus Christ. And so, brethren, we must pray earnestly. We must see our need for this virtue, for we need to be converted. Though we lay the foundation is not enough to get you to heaven. It is not enough, brethren. But we need every single step upon the ladder of salvation. May God bless you.